There is a rule passed down through generations of Japanese fishermen that has never been written into any scientific text. When the dragon god's messenger rises from the deep, something terrible is coming. In 140 years of recorded sightings, that rule has never once been wrong. This is the story of what happens when it surfaces. Most of what lives in the deep ocean, we will never see. Below 200 meters, sunlight dies. Pressure becomes lethal. The creatures down there evolved in permanent darkness, and they stay there. They have no reason to come up, which is why when one of them does, scientists pay attention. The oarfish is the longest bony fish on the planet. Most specimens run 15 to 20 feet. The largest ever recorded was 36 feet long, longer than a school bus. It weighs up to 600 pounds. Its body is silver, almost metallic, with a vivid crimson fin that runs its entire length like a wound. And it lives exclusively between 200 and 1,000 meters below the surface. Nobody knows how it behaves down there. No living oarfish has ever been successfully kept in captivity. The few that have been captured died within hours. Every specimen ever studied by science was already dead when we found it, which makes what happens next even harder to explain, because periodically, with no warning, no obvious cause, they come up. Not one at a time, not occasionally, in clusters, always before something terrible. In the deep, dark waters off the coast of Japan, a legend swims. Japanese fishermen have a name for it. Ryugu no tsukai, the messenger from the dragon god's palace. A creature of myth, a serpent-like fish of impossible length, with a silver body and a crimson mane. For centuries, its appearance was not a marvel, but a warning. When one of these messengers washed ashore, fishermen pulled their boats in. Families packed their belongings and moved inland, away from the coast. They didn't ask questions. They didn't need to. The rule existed because the pattern was undeniable, passed down through generations who had learned the hard way. But in the modern world, such tales are dismissed. It was folklore, and science, with its rigid demand for proof, doesn't deal in folklore. Then came 2010. Over a period of several months, a startling number of oarfish, approximately 20, were found dead or dying along the Japanese coastline. The sheer volume of strandings was unprecedented, and it caught the attention of the media and the scientific community. Scientists rushed to investigate. The fish were meticulously examined. Tissues were sampled. Organs were dissected. They looked for everything: disease, parasites, signs of starvation, chemical poisoning, unusual temperature anomalies in the water. But every test came back negative. There was no clear cause for the mass strandings. Faced with a mystery they couldn't solve, the scientific community filed the event as an anomaly, a statistical curiosity, and moved on. Less than a year later, on March 11, 2011, a 9.0 magnitude earthquake, one of the most powerful ever recorded, struck off the coast of Tohoku, Japan. It triggered a catastrophic tsunami with waves reaching 40 meters high, erasing entire towns from the map. Nearly 20,000 people died. In the aftermath, as the nation grieved, some remembered the strange fish. They remembered the old stories their grandparents told. The coastal communities that had ignored the ancient warning, that had trusted in science over folklore, paid a price that cannot be quantified. In September 2013, the messenger appeared again, this time thousands of miles away off the coast of California. Catalina Island, California, a popular tourist destination known for its clear waters and idyllic coastline. But on October 13, 2013, this tranquil paradise would become the setting for a truly bizarre discovery, one that would echo a similar event from halfway across the world. Jasmine Santopietro was snorkeling in the shallows of Toyon Bay when she saw something on the seafloor that didn't belong there. A long serpentine shape shimmering in the filtered sunlight. 18 feet of silver. At first she thought it might be a piece of debris, but as she drew closer, she realized it was an animal. A monstrously large one. She surfaced and called out to the marine science instructor with her group. Together, they waded out to investigate. The creature was an oarfish, a deep sea dweller rarely seen by humans, especially not this close to shore. They began the arduous task of dragging it ashore. It took 15 people to haul its immense ribbon-like body onto the sand. The oarfish was dead, but its body was completely intact. No injuries, no predator marks, no obvious cause of death. It had simply come up from the crushing pressure of the deep and stopped. Marine scientists from the Catalina Island Marine Institute examined it immediately. They were stunned. Oarfish are creatures of the abyss, living at depths of up to 3,000 feet. To find one in such perfect condition was unheard of. They described it as pristine, a once-in-a-lifetime specimen. Photographs went around the world. The discovery made headlines, a brief, fascinating story about a mysterious sea creature. Science noted it. 11 days later, and 75 miles down the coast, it happened again. A 14-foot oarfish washed ashore on a beach in Oceanside, California. Different location, different specimen, same baffling condition. Intact, undamaged, cause of death unknown. 2 oarfish, 2 weeks, 1 coastline. Scientists offered explanations. Warming ocean temperatures, unusual currents, natural mortality. But none of those explanations accounted for why both fish, creatures of the deep, would surface alive, intact, with no observable cause of death within 11 days of each other along the same stretch of California coast. It was a statistical anomaly that bordered on the impossible. The Puente Hills Fault runs directly beneath Los Angeles. Geologists have long identified it as one of the most dangerous fault lines in the United States, capable of generating a 7.5 magnitude earthquake directly beneath a city of 4 million people. A seismic event on this fault wouldn't just be a disaster, it would be a cataclysm. While scientists debated the cause of the oarfish strandings, some remembered the old stories, the ancient folklore from Japan, where the oarfish is known as Ryugu no tsukai, the messenger from the sea god's palace, a messenger that brings a warning of earthquakes to come. On March 28, 2014, 5 months after the Catalina oarfish, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake struck La Habra, California. Its epicenter was located directly on the Puente Hills Fault. It was the largest earthquake to hit the Los Angeles area in years, a violent shudder that served as a stark reminder of the immense power lurking just beneath the surface. Two events, 2 continents, the same fish, the same sequence, a deep sea omen followed by a significant seismic event. Coincidence has a limit. Here is where scientists draw a line in the sand, or more accurately, in the data. In 2019, researchers at the Tokyo University of Marine Science and Technology conducted the first formal statistical analysis of oarfish strandings and seismic events in Japan. They meticulously examined records, news reports, and academic papers going back nearly a century to 1928. Their goal was to replace folklore with facts, to see if the pattern held up under the cold, hard lens of statistical scrutiny. Their conclusion was unambiguous. They found no statistically significant correlation. The numbers simply didn't connect the dots. The oarfish, they determined, is not a reliable earthquake predictor. The pattern, they said, is a product of human psychology. a phenomenon known as confirmation bias. We are wired to find meaning in chaos, so we vividly remember the few times a stranding preceded a disaster, and we conveniently forget the many, many times they didn't. It's a compelling story, but according to the data, that's all it is. That study should end the conversation. Case closed. But here is what the study did not and could not answer. If the fish live exclusively in the crushing pressure of deep water and have no biological reason to ever visit the surface, why do they? Why undertake a fatal journey into a world they are not built for? The deep sea is a realm of profound stability. Its inhabitants are exquisitely sensitive to the slightest changes in their environment, especially pressure. Some researchers hypothesize that this sensitivity is the key. They suggest that oarfish may detect seismic precursor waves, subtle, low-frequency micro-tremors in the seafloor that can occur days or even weeks before a major earthquake. These vibrations, imperceptible to us and our instruments, could be agonizing to an oarfish, causing them to flee upward in distress, seeking refuge from a threat they can't see. The researchers who proposed this hypothesis have not been able to prove it. The deep ocean is notoriously difficult to study, and catching this process in the act is a monumental challenge, but they have also not been able to disprove it. In science, that is not the same as wrong. That is unresolved, and there is a difference, a very important difference, between we don't have evidence and there is nothing there. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, especially in a place as vast and unexplored as our own oceans. The ocean is not a laboratory. It does not operate on our timelines or within the limits of our technology. It doesn't care what we can prove. It only cares what is. Ticking clock. The clock is running right now. In 2024, multiple oarfish were reported off the coastline of Chile. Chile sits on the most seismically active region on Earth, the Ring of Fire. The 1960 Valdivia earthquake, the largest ever recorded at 9.5 magnitude, struck this same coastline. The 2024 sightings were documented. Scientists were notified. The same explanations were offered. Unusual currents, natural mortality. As of the time this video was made, no major seismic event has followed those sightings. That could mean the pattern is exactly what the 2019 study said it was. Coincidence, confirmation bias, folklore, or it could mean the clock hasn't finished counting down yet. There's no way to know, which is perhaps the most terrifying thing about this creature. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't explain itself. It simply surfaces, and we watch the horizon. There is a rule passed down through generations of Japanese fishermen that has never been written into any scientific text. When the dragon god's messenger rises from the deep, something is coming. Science says that rule is superstition. The oarfish doesn't seem to know that. There are things in the deep that have watched this planet longer than we have. We just don't see them until they want us to.